Hello and welcome to this screencast on ATP Breakdown, or the breakdown of ATP, where we're going to learn what ATP is and then why it's so useful and important for us. First of all, if we're looking at kind of like what we've done so far for the whole year, first thing we've looked at is we've looked at movement analysis. Okay, we've looked at how we get an actual muscular contraction via a motor unit when we're talking about the motor neuron with an action potential going to the muscle, and we're able to get a muscular contraction. We've also looked at muscle fibers, which is really important if we're looking at what we're going to be doing over the next few lessons. Finally, the last thing we did look at was diet and nutrition. Now, when we did nutrition, we learnt about the fact that carbohydrates provide us with the energy that I need because the food is broken down into energy. Now we need to kind of understand what the food is actually broken down into. So yes, it's broken down into glucose and glycogen, and then what that glucose, or how that glucose provides us with energy. And if we're thinking about nutrition, we've also learned that minerals are really good. One of the benefits of minerals is enzyme formation, and we need to understand that when we have enzymes are really good at breaking down food to release energy, which is going to be quite important in what we're doing over the next couple of days. Bear with me, sorry. So, what we're going to be looking at is energy systems. So, this threshold concept is essentially these energy systems, or the energy systems we're going to be looking at. It's really important that we've done this before, so we kind of get a general idea of the terminology. So we've got anaerobic physiology and aerobic. Anaerobic is without the presence of oxygen we get energy or use energy. Aerobic physiology, aerobic is more to do with oxygen is present when we're breaking down or using energy. Muscle fibers, if we look back, we know that we've got fast oxidative glycolytic type 2A muscle fibers and fast glycolytic type 2B muscle fibers, and we know that these are anaerobic kind of muscle fibers, have high phosphocreatine, which is going to be really important when we're doing energy systems. So we have got the ATP PC system and the glycolytic system. These are anaerobic energy systems, and they correspond with our muscle fibers. We also have slow oxidative type 1 muscle fibers, or slow twitch muscle fibers, that we know are aerobic. They've got high capillary density, they have high mitochondrial count, high myoglobin count. Remember, myoglobin is a protein that transports oxygen to the mitochondria, and mitochondria is where aerobic energy production takes place. Now, energy systems, we also have the aerobic energy system, which is obviously going to be linked to our aerobic physiology, the breaking down of oxygen to create energy. So that's what we've looked at so far, but in today's screencast we are focusing on energy for exercise. This is the specification that we need to be aware of. This is what we're going to be learning about throughout the next couple of lessons. First of all, we need to know that ATP is the energy currency of the body and is the only usable source of energy that we have. We need to know the principles of energetically coupled reactions. So we need to know about the breakdown of ATP to ADP, and then how we actually resynthesize ATP from ADP plus B. We need to know energy systems, the ATP PC system, the glycolytic system and the aerobic system, and specifically we actually need to know for each of these energy systems we need to know type of reaction. So is it an aerobic reaction or anaerobic? Just from what we've done so far, we should know straight away the ATP PC system and glycolytic system are going to be anaerobic, and the aerobic system, well, it's going to be aerobic. We need to know the chemical or food fuel used, the specific site of the reaction, the controlling enzyme, the ATP yield, i.e. how much ATP is produced. We need to know specific stages within each system, and then finally, if they have any byproducts, what the byproducts actually are. So, your Cornell notes for today, we're solely focusing on the breakdown of ATP. This is not actually an energy system, so we're not looking at the ATP PC system or the glycolytic system or the aerobic system. We are specifically looking at ATP, okay, which is known as adenosine triphosphate. I'm going to go on about more disease. As you can see, I've left quite a big blank for this one. We're going to need quite a few notes on adenosine triphosphate, so make sure you are aware of that. Then I just want us to be aware of the term an exothermic reaction and an endothermic reaction. So if we are going to be speaking about ATP, ATP or adenosine triphosphate is 1 adenosine molecule and 3 phosphate. So as you can see here, this is the makeup and this is what it looks like. So adenosine, 3 phosphate. What we need to know, we need to know its chemical makeup. I've just told it you. Okay, so it is 1 adenosine molecule and 3 phosphates. We need to know where it's located. So adenosine triphosphate is located or stored in the muscle sarcoplasm. The muscle sarcoplasm is where we actually get the contraction of a muscle fibre. So this is, we've got loads of layers of muscle, etc., and loads of different anatomical terminology for the muscles. However, the sarcoplasm is where the ATP is located. Now, why is it so important? Okay, I've already said it. ATP is known as the energy currency of the body, and it is the only usable energy source. If we're going to use money as an analogy for this, if you think of a British sterling, you need British sterling to buy something in this country. If you do not have it, you're not buying anything. Simple as that. If you go over to America and whip out a £10 note, you're not going to be able to buy what you want if it's $10. It's as simple as that. We need ATP to produce energy. It is the only usable energy source we have. So when we eat carbohydrates and it's broken down into glucose in the bloodstream and glycogen in the muscle, that glucose needs to be broken down by enzymes to create ATP. Then from that ATP we use that for energy. So the ATP is the only energy currency source that we are allowed, or usable energy source we can use. It's known as the energy currency of the body. This is vital. Get this down. This is the most important thing with regards to ATP so far. Energy currency of the body, the only usable energy source. That will get you marks in an exam. How long does it last? 3 seconds. Awful. Okay. ATP on its own only lasts for 3 seconds of high intensity anaerobic work. So what is it? 1 adenosine, 3 phosphate. Where is it located? Muscle sarcoplasm. Why is it important? It is the energy currency of the body, the only usable energy source that we have. Finally, it only lasts for 3 seconds of high intensity anaerobic work. Therefore, it needs to be rebuilt, it needs to be recharged, it needs to be resynthesized by the 3 energy systems: the ATP-PC system, the glycolytic system, and the aerobic energy system. Now, we need to know how ATP is broken down. So how it actually provides us with that 3 seconds of work. We know what it is, we know why it's important. We need to know how you break it down so we get this 3 seconds of work. So this is the process. I'm going to talk through the process, then some notes are going to be on the screen, then you can write your notes down. However, first of all, we're just going to speak about the process. We first of all start with ATP. Now, these 3 phosphate molecules do not like each other, okay? They do not want to be by each other. That's why it's easily broken down. Imagine 3 children sitting on a bus in the same seat, and they all hate each other. Nightmare. They do not want to be by each other. So it's really easily broken down. What happens is we get an enzyme called ATPase or ATPase. Now, this enzyme here, this is why minerals are so good, because they help with enzyme formation, which means we're able to break down food and get energy. Okay, so enzymes break down fuel for us. Now, let's get back to it. ATP is broken down by the enzyme ATPase. Specifically, the high energy bond between the 2nd and 3rd phosphate is broken by ATPase. So we have ATP, ATPase breaks down the high energy bond between the 2nd and 3rd phosphates. Energy is released to contract the muscle. So we are left with ATP plus P plus energy. So ADP plus P plus energy. So the fuel was ATP. The enzyme was ATPase or ADP. The product from the reaction was ADP. ADP means 2. It's anything di, 2. It's anything diphosphate plus a phosphate plus energy. That is known as an exothermic reaction. So I'm going to give you now the definitions or descriptions of what an exothermic reaction is and endothermic reaction is for your Cornell notes. So an exothermic reaction is when energy is released from a reaction. Exothermic, exit, okay, energy exits, energy is released from a reaction. An endothermic reaction is when energy combines elements together, which is going to be important when we do the ATP-PC system. So as a whole, we have a fuel ATP. It is broken down by the enzyme ATPase. The product is ADP plus P plus energy. Here it is written down in simple form. ATP broken down by ATPase to get ADP plus P plus energy. Problem. We now have a problem. We know that ATP is the energy currency of the body and is the only usable source of energy. It lasts 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, we are now left with ADP plus P plus energy. We do not have ATP. Therefore, we're not going to be able to have a muscular contraction. We have no energy. Think of it as a phone battery. Imagine you've got a phone and your battery life is only 3 seconds. Once it's dead, that's it, it's done. Okay, you're going to have to recharge it, okay, or resynthesize it to get the energy back. So ADP plus P plus E, we have no energy, we have to charge it to get ATP back. What is the solution? Okay, we have to plug our phone in, we have to recharge it, we have to get our ATP back. We do this via 3 energy systems. The ATP PC system, which is an anaerobic system and it provides energy for 10 seconds. Following this 10 seconds, we no longer have ATP. So we have to use a different energy system called the glycolytic system, which is another anaerobic energy system, and this provides energy for 10 seconds to 3 minutes. Then once that's gone, we're going to have no ATP, so we need to recharge it again, and then we use the aerobic energy system. This provides work or energy from 3 minutes to 5 hours. So the main focus of this screencast has been ATP and the breakdown of ATP. In lesson we're going to go through this, but then we're going to go on to the energy systems, and we have 3 energy systems: the ATP PC system, glycolytic system, aerobic system. Get good key notes on this. Specifically, make sure you know what ATP is, where it is located, why it's so important, and how long it lasts for. This is the key stuff for the lesson. Okay, so get your notes down and I'll see you soon. Thank you.